Welcome back to another podcast here. I'm once again joined by Belal Hamideh. Belal, how you doing this morning?
I'm good as ever, Greg. How are you doing?
That's a very good way to describe that. I like that. I'm good as ever too. Cool, cool, cool. You want to jump into the question?
Yeah, so we usually do these questions that people send in. There's a
Hmm.
lot of common questions amongst people. What do I do in an accident, whether it's a car accident or work accident? What do I do if I was fired from my job? So we're here to try to provide answers to anyone who wants to send questions in to us, either through social media or direct messaging. So let's go ahead and jump into the first question.
Perfect. The first question that came into you was, and it's a good one. How do I choose a personal injury lawyer?
Right. So the personal injury lawyer that you need to choose, first of all, has to be licensed to practice in the state where the case will be filed. So,
Mm.
if you got injured in California, then the lawsuit will be in California. So you would need a California personal injury lawyer. Also, you don't want to just choose somebody who does all types of law or who doesn't necessarily focus only on personal injury because there's a lot of rules and complexities. So you want to choose a lawyer that actually focuses on personal injury and injury related cases. The best way is either through word of mouth or online reviews and research. You want to choose somebody who has positive reviews because when you get injured, I mean, I can imagine it's very stressful and you want somebody who has a high rating, who provides high client satisfaction so that they could help reduce the stress than to increase the stress.
For sure. I mean, that makes so much sense. And yeah, I didn't realize until you said it. Like, okay, I need someone that's in the state and also somebody that this is, deals with personal injury law. I mean, that's the thing you'd want to be researching for. That's all great, and that sort of feeds into the second question of, I think a lot of people wonder is, hey, even though I've been injured, do I really need a personal injury lawyer?
Right. So some maybe minor crashes you can resolve on your own if you only need like one evaluation with a doctor just to make sure there's nothing serious going on with your
Mm.
body. And maybe you could settle for a small amount with an insurance adjuster. But if you sustained an injury that requires ongoing medical treatment that may have resulted in a permanent injury where the settlement is one payment for life, I mean, you don't get to come back in 5 years and say, man, that wasn't enough money. It's one settlement, one payment for something that is potentially life altering. So in those situations, you definitely would need a personal injury lawyer.
No, I could feel myself cringing as you said a lot of that, just imagining having that kind of regret. Oh, that's terrible. I think getting into the third question, I think you touched on some of it in that, but there's certainly a lot more I think that can be expounded upon. The next question that came in is like, hey, nuts and bolts, bottom line, how will a personal injury lawyer help me?
Right. So the first thing is the injury attorney will set up all the claims with the insurance companies, make sure that all the correct defendants are in the case so that you're
Mm.
not missing anybody, like an employer of a driver who hit you, something like that. The lawyer will help to manage your medical treatment, refer you to specialists if you need so, and maximize your medical improvement. That's the most important thing is your health. Third is the assistance with a settlement, or if you cannot get a settlement, a recovery via trial or arbitration for your personal injury amount. And that's the ways that a personal injury attorney can help you.
No, that all makes so much sense, and everything you said, I was just thinking, geez, that's something, as a layperson without a law education or degree or background, I wouldn't know how to do any of that. So that's all stuff you would need a professional for. The next question, I think, is something that's on a lot of people's minds when they're looking at personal injury attorneys: is will I make more money with a personal injury lawyer?
So I can't guarantee that you will, but in my experience, I've had clients come to my office who've had a $5,000 offer and then they accepted the offer without the counsel of an attorney, without representation from an attorney, and the judge kind of looked at them and said, "Go get a lawyer. This is not enough money." And then within 2 months, I settled the case for 30,000.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
my fee on that case was $4,500, and she netted 25,500.
Oh,
So
man.
in that example, even though we get a fee, the case settles for more than what our fee is in general. So I do believe that it is more likely to get more money with a personal injury lawyer, to not regret getting a low settlement or getting lowballed, the money quickly running out after you settle the case, and then regretting getting the settlement in the beginning without without an attorney. So I definitely think that you can make, and it's more likely that you will make more money with an attorney than representing yourself.
Certainly, that makes all the sense in the world. And I was just thinking as you're sitting there talking, I mean, that's great that lady got that judge that said that. But boy, not everyone's going to get that lucky with that judge that tells you, hey, go out there and there's more for you there. And the final question, I think you touched on some of it in there, but I'm expounding upon it would help folks a lot. I think that how does a personal injury lawyer get paid themselves?
So there's two types of ways that lawyers in general they get paid. One of them is hourly, where you have to pay upfront. You have to give the lawyer a retainer before they even do any type of services. And then once the retainer runs out, they stop services until you refill it. That's hourly pay. The other type of pay is contingency pay, which means that our fee is contingent or reliant upon us winning your case and winning money. And then we charge a percentage of the fee. So that's the structure for personal injury lawyer fees. And I think it's better for the client because the client's injured, they're already stressed out. We don't want them trying to figure out how to pay an attorney. We don't want them to worry more. We just want them to focus on their medical treatment and getting better, getting their life back on track. And they don't have to worry about anything. If we don't win money, then we're not going to charge them. So that's how personal injury lawyers get paid in general.
No, that's great. I mean, and that makes, so much sense. Someone sitting there thinking, geez, I want to get the lawyer, but I can't, I'm not sure I can pay for one. Well, you don't have to. I mean, that's the whole point of the contingency thing. That makes so much sense. Well, thank you for coming on to say that to us. I always certainly learn a lot during these things. I know you mentioned it at the top. Where can, maybe a little more specific, where can folks send the questions they might have? You mentioned the social media. Where else?
Right. So you can email questions directly to me. My email is bh@belalhamidelaw.com. You can send a message on Facebook to the Belal Hamideh Law Facebook page. We also have a Belal Hamideh Law Instagram and Twitter. Whatever is your flavor of social media, if you type in our firm name, you'll easily find us and send a message. It will get sent to us, and we'll make sure to answer that question at our next session.
No, that's great. Thank you for clarifying that. Was there any final thoughts or anything you wanted to leave the folks with there, Belal?
Right. So anyone who's dealing with questions or frustrations in regards to personal injury, workers' comp, employment law issues, you're not alone. There is a lot of help out there. I like to consider myself an option for assistance. All you need to do is give me a ring, send me an email, send me a message on social media. I'm not going to charge to give advice. I generally like to see people at peace and get sent in the right direction, whether they're going to continue and proceed with their case with an attorney or without, as long as they get to where they need to be. For any personal injury, workers' comp, or employment law matters, I recommend and welcome anybody to ask us your questions so that we can answer them in the next session.
Well, that was very well said. That's yeah. And if you're not feeling at peace after an injury, reach out to Belal there. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here this afternoon. Thanks for coming on. As always, Belal, it's so helpful and it's good to see you out there doing that. And yeah, on behalf of Website Depot and everyone else, my name is Greg Benevent. Take it easy. Have a good day.
Thank you.